What is up guys, I'm back with another tutorial. Have you ever tried to get stuck in one of your projects? Well, I think we have all been there. Sometimes you might think, well, does this track need some more vocals, or does it need an arpeggiator or some synth loops? Sometimes you just need those happy accidents to get going again. And that's what I learned from watching this video from the brilliant producer Conducta, is that FL Studio has a little function that can generate new ideas out of your loops, and it's called beat shuffle. So this function, it cuts up your sample into small slices that are somewhat kind of time-based. Let's just see an example of what it does. So right here we have a really basic vocal loop from Splice. Sounds like this.
I take the weight on my shoulders.
And what you can do is, if you press this corner here, you see like the mouse, it turns into like a pointing finger. And you go to the drop down here and you go to chop, and then you go to complex, and then you have this thing called beat shuffle, and that's why we do this video. So what you can see now is that the vocal is now being chopped into new bits and then being rearranged across the playlist. So if we take a listen to it. The vocal sounds totally different right now. And now it's up to you to really play around and try to find some phrases and patterns that really sounds awesome and put out some kind of uniqueness to your tracks with this new rearranged vocal loop. And this is a hugely underrated function if you ask me. I use it all the time for creating vocal chops for my own tracks, and I think it adds so much flavor to my tracks. Alright, let me take you through how I use the beat shuffle function. Firstly, I'm gonna find a sample on Splice. In this case, we're gonna use a vocal loop. Then I'm gonna insert the sample that we found on Splice into the project. And then I'm gonna make sure that it's synced to the tempo. And the vocal loop sounds like this.
Bringing out the best in me, it's time to get a move on.
So what we do is that we press the corner here, go to chop, and then we go to complex and then press beat shuffle. And then magic happens. Now we have this loop instead.
Time to show me to borrow down the smudge and test to know.
So the vocal loop is totally different now. So we actually have our own twist to it now. So now we have to start rearranging the phrases and the different chops to get our own little groovy vocal loop thing. Okay, spending a couple of minutes just rearranging the different phrases of the vocal loop, I came up with this new rearranged loop. Sounds like this.
Feel that on me, time, test, move on. Feel that on me, time, get strong.
And I just play around with the different parts and try to find some phrases that work well together. And sometimes you actually have to redo the beat shuffle if the first attempt didn't bring you any cool phrases or ideas. And it also happens to me, so it's just a matter of trial and error. So trial and error is the key here. And then I apply some effects to the vocal loop. First, some distortion.
Feel that on me.
Then some EQ.
Feel that on me.
Then a little bit of delay.
Feel that on me.
And then some reverb.
Feel that on me.
And then lastly, just a sidechain to make it duck with the rest of the track.
Feel that on me. Test, move on. Feel that on me.
So that's our rearranged vocal loop. I think it sounds really awesome and unique. So I just made a really quick beat so we can hear our new vocal loop in the context. So everything together, it sounds like this.
Feel that on me. Test, move on. Feel that on me. Get strong. Feel that on me. Test, move on. Feel that on me. Feel that on me. Test, move on. Feel that on me. Get strong. Feel that on me. Test, move on. Feel that on me.
Okay, so here are some good tips for getting better results when you're using the beat shuffle function. So the first tip is to sync your samples to your project tempo. In that way, you get more clean cuts when using the beat shuffle function. Then the next tip is to find longer samples so you have more chops and phrases that the beat shuffle can come up with. So go for around, like at minimum, samples that are 16 bars long. And then the last tip is to crossfade your vocal chops. And in FL you can do it here, so that when the sample is chopped, it's not just stopping and clicking. You create like a small fade out at the end and the beginning, and then you get more smoother results when using the beat shuffle mode. So that's it for this short tutorial. Now it's your turn to create awesome ideas with the beat shuffle function. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please feel free to drop a comment if you want me to cover other production aspects. And if you want to help me out, then subscribe to the channel and get my new production videos in the future. Thank you. See you in the next video. Take care.